This quest is for my ISO professionals, those of you who are really getting into the isometrics. Making this cube of cubes where every single other cube alternates between black and white is kind of complicated, and this is the process through which it was made, and I'll walk you through it sometime in the future. But for right now, I just want you to understand that this is the 23rd in a sequence. So if I save this and then save as, I'm going to save this out as 24 so that you can see I've got, this is my production test this weekend that I've been working on, all kinds of different projects, and just trying to get a feel, pushing the envelope here. Now, notice that I've got 6 artboards. This is all the cubes, and all the cubes are on their own layer right here. If I click on this, you can see I select all the cubes. The carved cubes, that is all the cubes drugged down, and then I'm deleting one by one. Then the grouped faces, these are just the faces of the cubes without the leftovers, and the leftovers is all the geometry that is hiding behind this. Now, the cool thing about all the leftovers that I deleted at first is that we get not only an interesting collection of geometry right here, we get some very interesting patterns that show up, in addition to the patterns that are made from the isometric cube that has been carved. That's just the faces, so we save on geometry. Now, remember, I saved and then saved as. So this is a brand new one. So what I'm going to do is delete those two because I'm going to make something new. I'm going to click here, hit Command 0 to move that artboard into the foreground. And then I haven't planned this out. I'll just go ahead and delete that cube to reveal the black face behind it, and delete that one. Same thing happens. So we've got this cube, which kind of looks like it's coming out. I don't know how you're seeing it because it's an optical illusion. But this creates a different pattern than what was there before. These are all the cubes and all the geometry. Okay, so you notice when I select something, I select the entire cube. I'm going to select all of this and copy it. And then click in this artboard. I'll hold down the Command key in order to pull this over. And then jump up to my grouped faces. You need to be able to keep layers and artboards separate from each other. You got to know when you hit paste in front, Command F, that this is going to go right in the center of this artboard on its own layer, which is great. Now these are all cubes. I need to ungroup them, Shift Command G to ungroup. Now when I deselect and click, I can select individual faces. I want to group faces. Now let me just tell you, depending upon the geometry and how complicated you get, you have to use different strategies, because when you group faces, sometimes you move faces in front of others and you break the geometry. So you got to be flexible. For this type of thing right here, where I've got all whole cubes, I don't have any face hiding behind another face. This is kind of straightforward. I'm going to click, I'm going to select, and I'm just shift clicking. Okay? If I accidentally move something, you got to undo. You can't put it back. Don't even try to put it back. You got to undo. So I am selecting the tops. So I'm going to come down here and select the tops here. Tops of these cubes. And sometimes, because of the optical illusions, it gets kind of confusing. Now, do I have all the tops selected? It seems to me as if I do. And we just have these dots that show what's there. So I'm going to hit Command G to group that. Now I'm going to select this side. And I'm clicking on these 3 corners because I want this bounding box out of my way. And then click up here. And then I'm selecting this side. So that means this side here. And I'll come over here, and shift clicking once again. And then now you got to think this is kind of, and right here I start getting confused with the geometry. Which way is which? You can't fall for the optical illusions. You have to be able to separate this out. And when you're working with just 3 colors, there are 6 colors here because I'm working with black and white. This is far more confusing than just 3 colors. But that looks like I've got that. So I'm going to go ahead and select those as you peek in on a conversation between my wife and daughter. Hopefully that wasn't embarrassing at all. We'll figure that out later because I'm kind of concentrated on what I'm doing. And I'm trying to select these faces so I can get, and if I select something on accident, oh no, I selected all that. We just shift click right back on it to deselect. And then here and here and here. Then I'm going to look to make sure I've got all these faces. And if you goof up, I'm going to show you, I mean, it's easy to fix. So I'm going to hit Command G. So now I'm going to deselect. I'm going to click to select the top, left side, right side, and look and see, does every single cube have a dot in the center? And it looks like it does. So I'm going to group that, Command G. Now, remember there's a whole bunch of geometry behind this. If I hold down Shift, now this is all selected and it's grouped. Now if I come out here, hold down Shift first, then click and start dragging, I'm going to deselect the faces and select everything behind it. Now I was deleting this before. I'm going to hit Command X in order to cut that. And now when I click on any one face, I get all this geometry. And I would undo if all of a sudden I was missing a face and then ungroup, reselect, do all that stuff. But for right now, Option Command 0 lets me see all my artboards. I'm going to click up in this one, click on the leftovers layer, hit Command F to paste in front, Command G to group. And now I've got my leftovers, I've got my faces, and they're both grouped. So I can just click and select. I'm going to hit my shortcut for making a pattern. And you can go up to Object, Pattern, Make. I'm not going to do that. I've been teaching you guys shortcuts all year long. I'm tired of doing it the long way. Okay? And I've been naming these. And I've got kind of a naming convention here. So this is the 24th version. So CW is checkerboard white. Is my little shortcut, and I'm going to change the grid to hex by row. Perfect. Click Done. Click once on this. Click once on my new pattern. And then click once up here. Make a new pattern with my handy-dandy shortcut. And we'll name this the same thing except 524. We'll add a B to it. And then change this to hex by row. And then I've got my notes there, so it's 346, tab 467, and we get this very cool pattern. Click Done, and then let's minimize that. What the heck? Get out of here. Okay, well, whatever. I'm going to click there, select this new pattern, and that's the new pattern. Now, with this, I've been working, I'm going to copy this and jump over to my other one, paste it, move this. Why do I get all that selected? There we go. Okay, I don't know what that was about. It looked like I made a mistake. And this deep into the movie, I don't want that to happen. So I'll do my shortcut. I'm going to name this thing exactly the same, my CW 524, 5 because it's a 5 by 5 cube, and change this to hex by row. Click Done. Click on my pattern. Click on my new one. Save for the web into a folder that contains all my work that I've been putting, CW 524. I've been putting, so I can put these things. If I switch over to the Finder and hide everything, I can put these things on my desktop. And if I switch over to system preferences, I can click through, and there's the pattern I just made, and here's a bunch of others I've been working on. And I want you guys to understand that, oh my goodness, there's so many different options here. And we'll scroll up, and this is some of the other stuff I was working on, playing with color. And there's other shortcuts that I want to show you guys on how you can do this. And these are not monochromatic, even though they look like it. I'm using a different strategy, and I'll share that with you in a different video. But all I want to tell you is, man, oh man, this is one of those leftover patterns. Do we have some adventures ahead with hex patterns and building these things in a way that I don't think anyone else out there is doing. Have a great week. Experiment with this stuff, and I'll probably drop in another movie and talk about color. Don't know if I'll have it for Monday, but we'll see.